Bonjour tout le monde et bienvenue à Learn French by Suchita. Je m'appelle Suchita, votre enseignante de la langue française, and in this video, I am going to teach you the imperative of the pronominal verbs. Before we begin with this video, I would like to introduce you to my website www.learnfrenchbysuchita.com, where you will find recorded courses for all your French language needs. We have courses for DELF A1, DELF A2, DELF B1, TEF TCF recorded course, French phonetics as well. We have special courses for our school students ranging from grade 5 to grade 8. We also have courses for university students who are enrolled in certificate course or diploma course in Delhi University. And finally, we also have courses for our school students who are aiming to appear for their DELF Prem or DELF Junior examinations. So hurry up and check it out. So without any further ado, let's get into the video. And as I told you that in this video, we are going to learn the imperative of the pronominal verbs. This is one of the most requested videos of all the times where students were multiple times asking me to make a video on the topic imperative. So I thought, why not record a video on this topic? In case you like the video, please do not forget to give a thumbs up to the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and mention your comments in the comment section below. Also, if you're not following me on my Instagram page, which is Learn French by Suchita, go and follow me over there as well. So let's get started, and for that, I'll take you to my screen. I hope all of you can see my screen now. Now, the topic is l'impératif des verbes pronominaux, which is the imperative of the pronominal verbs. I told you that I have divided the series into two parts. In the first part of this series, I have taught you what is imperative and how do you make the imperative of the normal verbs. And since this is the second part of this series, where I'm teaching you the imperative of the pronominal verbs. So if you have not watched the first part of this series, I'm going to drop the link in the card above. You can watch that video and then come back here again. So in that video, I have already explained you what is imperative and why exactly do we use them. Here, let's start with a little recapitulation of what we did in the previous video. Imperative is basically a different tense, which we use in order to give the orders. For example, sit down, get up, do not make noise. All these are the orders. We use basically imperative tense in order to give the orders or in order to give the suggestions. Basically, they are all the sentences which start with the verb directly. Open the books, close the door, do not make noise. That can be positive, that can be negative, but they start directly with the verb. Now, in this video, we will directly start with the imperative of the pronominal verbs. First of all, before that, you should know what are pronominal verbs and how do you conjugate them. So, pronominal verbs are all the verbs which begin with s. In case you do not know what are pronominal verbs and how do you conjugate them, I had uploaded a detailed video on this topic. I'm going to drop the link in the card above. You can watch that video and then come back here again. So here, let's directly jump on to the imperative of the pronominal verbs. How do you actually make the imperative of the pronominal verbs? Now, the first verb which you're seeing in front of you is the verb se coucher. Se coucher, which means to lie down. Now, since it is beginning with se, of course, it's a pronominal verb. On the left-hand side, I have written the conjugation of this verb in the present tense. And on the right-hand side, we are changing it into imperative tense. Now, in the present tense, we have je me couche, tu te couches, il, elle, on se couche, nous, nous couchons, vous, vous couchez, il, elle se couche. That's what I just told you, that the conjugations of the pronominal verbs in the present tense have already been taught to you in one of the past videos. For that, I had just dropped the link somewhere in the card above. So while changing from the present tense to imperative, as I told you in the first part of this video, that you cannot write the imperative forms with je, il, elle, on and il, elle pluriel. With these subjects, it is not possible to write the imperative. So that's why I have put a small dash there, because imperative forms are not possible. They do not exist with these subjects. They exist only with tu, nous and vous. Now what you need to do is observe very carefully. With tu, the conjugation is tu te couches. Of course, as I told you in the first part, you need to remove tu, you need to remove nous, and you need to remove vous. So you will remove this tu, you will remove this nous, and you will remove this vous. Okay. Now what you're left with is te couche, nous couchons, and vous couchez. Now observe. What do you need to do? Couche. You will write couche as it is. But since this is an ER verb, I told you in the first part of the video that if you have ER verbs, in case of all the ER verbs, with tu, you drop the S. That's why here it's written tu te couches with ES. In imperative, you drop that S. In case of ER verbs, with tu, you always drop the S. So you have couche, and then this te comes forward and becomes toi. That happens in all the pronominal verbs. Couche, toi. Now, nous couchons. This nous, of course, the first nous you will cut. You will write couchons, and then nous, this nous will come forward and become couchons, nous. Then vous couchez. First vous, of course, you will remove. The second vous will come forward and become couchez-vous. So it becomes couche-toi, couchons-nous, couchez-vous. The meaning of se coucher is to lie down. So it becomes couche-toi becomes lie down. Couchons-nous becomes let's lie down. Couchez-vous becomes lie down again. So lie down, let's lie down, and lie down. Couche-toi, couchons-nous, couchez-vous. I'll repeat it for you. You write it with tu, nous, and vous. Of course, you will remove tu, nous, and vous. Then what you are left with is te couche, nous couchons, vous couchez. Since se coucher is an ER verb, in case of tu, you're going to drop the S from couche. So it becomes couche. Te comes forward and becomes toi. Couchons, the second nous comes forward and becomes couchons-nous. And then this vous couchez, the first vous, of course, you will cut. The second vous will come forward and become couchez-vous. Let's start with the second example, and the verb is se promener. Se promener, which means to take a walk. Now, on the left-hand side, I've written the verb in the present tense. Je me promène. Tu te promènes. Il est long se promène. Nous nous promenons. Vous vous promenez. Il, elle se promène. Now, on the right-hand side, we are changing it into imperative. With je, il, elle pluriel, it is not possible. So I have just put a dash over there. Now with tu, you have tu te promènes, right? Tu, you will remove. From promène, of course, you will have to drop this S. Reason being, promener is ER verb. So in case of ER verbs, with tu, you always drop the S. You will drop this S. So that is why promène is like this. This te will come forward and become promène-toi. Okay? This nous promenons, from here you will remove this nous. You'll write promenons as it is, put a dash, and nous will come forward. It will become promenons, nous. It's very important to put the dash over there. Now, vous promenez. This vous you will remove. You'll write promener, and then this second vous will come forward and become promenez-vous. So it becomes promène-toi, promenons-nous, promenez-vous. I repeat, promène-toi, promenons-nous, promenez-vous, which becomes take a walk, let's take a walk, take a walk. Let's start with the third verb, and the verb is s'asseoir. S'asseoir. Again, that begins with S apostrophe, so that's a pronominal verb. This means to sit down. On the left-hand side, I've written the conjugation in the present tense, which is je m'assis, tu t'assis, il est long s'assit, nous nous asseyons, vous vous asseyez, il, elle s'assit. Okay. Now, we have to change it into imperative. With je, il, elle, on, il, elle pluriel, it's not possible. So I've just put a dash over there. Now here, tu t'assis. What you need to do is you need to remove tu. Of course, you'll remove this tu. You'll write assis as it is. But here, if you see, I have not dropped the S. Reason being, s'asseoir, that's not an ER verb. So you will not drop the S. This rule that you drop the S in case of tu, that happens only in the case of ER verbs. So now you see, you write assis, and then this te that comes forward and becomes toi. So it becomes assis-toi. Now, with nous, it is nous asseyons. Of course, you will drop this first nous. You'll write asseyons as it is with a small dash. And then this nous will come forward and becomes asseyons-nous. With vous vous asseyez, you will drop this vous. This vous will come forward and becomes asseyez-vous. So, assis-toi, which means sit down. Asseyons-nous, let's sit down. Asseyez-vous, that again means sit down. Assis-toi, asseyons-nous, asseyez-vous. Sit down, let's sit down, sit down. Now, finally, let's move on to the last leg of this topic, which is négation des verbes pronominaux. Negation of the pronominal verbs. Till now, what we were doing was we were writing the imperative of the pronominal verbs, but that was there in the positive sentences. That was there in the affirmative ones. Now, we are going to move on to how do you do when you have the negation of the pronominal verbs. So for that, I have taken the first example, and the first example is the verb se coucher. But this time, I have not conjugated that in positive. I have conjugated that in negative. So on the left-hand side, if you are seeing I've conjugated the verb se coucher in the present tense, but this time you have it in negative. So in the positive, you had je me couche, but this time since it is negative, I have added ne and pas, which makes it je ne me couche pas. Tu ne te couches pas. Il, elle, on ne se couche pas. Nous ne nous couchons pas. Vous ne vous couchez pas. Il, elle ne se couche pas. That's there in the present tense. Now we have to change it into imperative. With je, il, elle, on and il, elle pluriel, of course, the imperative forms do not exist. So therefore, I have put a dash over there. Now, with tu, nous and vous, let's learn how do you make the imperative. What I was telling you that, of course, you have to remove tu, you have to remove nous, and you have to remove vous. That's what you have to do here as well. But in the positive case, what was happening that this te was coming forward and becoming tua. This nous was coming forward and this vous was coming forward, which would happen only in the positive case, not in the negative case. In the negative case, it is much simpler. You just need to remove tu, nous, and vous, and you need to write as it is, whatever is left. But yes, of course, since coucher, that's an ER verb. So in case of tu, you will drop this S. But rest you will write as it is. So it becomes ne te couche pas, ne nous couchons pas, ne vous couchez pas. So basically this te or nous and vous that comes forward only in the positive case, not in the negative case. In the negative case, you just have to remove tu, nous and vous, and whatever is left you will write as it is. Ne te couche pas, ne nous couchons pas, ne vous couchez pas. So ne te couche pas, that means don't lie down. Ne nous couchons pas, let's not lie down. Ne vous couchez pas, don't lie down. Let's take up the last verb, and the verb is s'asseoir, but this time I'm conjugating that in negative. Ne pas s'asseoir, which means not to sit down. Now in the present tense, je ne m'assis pas, tu ne t'assis pas, il et l'on ne s'assit pas, nous ne nous asseyons pas, vous ne vous asseyez pas, il, elle ne s'assit pas. The conjugation is just like the positive ones. It's just that here I have added ne and pas. Now, while changing from present tense to imperative, with je, il, elle, on, and il, elle pluriel, of course, the imperative forms do not exist. So I have just put a dash over there. Now with tu, tu ne t'assis pas. You just need to drop tu, and this will come as it is. Ne t'assis pas, which means don't sit. Nous ne nous asseyons pas. So of course you will remove this nous, and whatever is left you will write as it is. Ne nous asseyons pas. Vous ne vous asseyez pas, you will remove this vous, and it becomes ne vous asseyez pas. Don't sit. Again, ne t'assis pas, ne nous asseyons pas, ne vous asseyez pas. In the positive ones, what we were doing, this te was coming forward, this nous was coming forward, this vous was coming forward, which happens only in the positive case, not in the negative case. And here I have also not dropped the S, reason being s'asseoir is not an ER verb. So you drop S with you only in the case of ER verbs, not with other verbs. So it becomes ne t'assis pas, ne nous asseyons pas, ne vous asseyez pas. Don't sit, let's not sit, don't sit. In front of you on your screen, you're seeing some of the practice questions. All these sentences are written in the present tense. I would request you to grab a notebook, grab a pen, and solve all of them in the sense that you have to change from the present tense and write all these sentences into imperative. After you're done, you can check the answers of these from the description box below. I'm going to mention all the correct answers in the description box. And with this, we complete the topic imperative. In case you liked the video, please do not forget to give a thumbs up to the video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and do not forget to hit the bell icon for all the updates and reminders. And I will see you soon with the next video. Till then, au revoir, à bientôt et bisous bisous.